Hi, I'm Greg Grant, Smith County horticulturist with the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service in Tyler, Texas. Today we're in the Idea Garden, part of the Tyler Botanical Gardens here in the Tyler Rose Garden, and we're featuring tropical giant Hymenocallis, or the giant white spider lily. And so white spider lilies, this particular cultivar generally peaks about July 4th. We're a little past that now, but you're still there hanging on in bloom. Hymenocallis is a genus known for the southeastern United States and the tropics. Hymenocallis means beautiful membrane, so you see the membrane in the middle with the petals and the stamens coming off of that. You might be familiar with daylilies, or Hymenocallis means beautiful for a day, so this means beautiful membrane in Latin. Our common species here in East Texas is a swamp-dwelling version called Hymenocallis liriosmi, the lily-flowered Hymenocallis. Occasionally you'll run across an odd species blooming literally right now across East Texas, a rare one called Hymenocallis occidentalis ulei. But what you typically see in gardens all across the South is this big, bold version with the wide foliage, the beautiful flowers that look like white fireworks. You always think about white fireworks on July 4th because that's when this one starts to bloom. Somewhat fragrant flowers, pretty much eternal, unless you go far enough north, say, North Texas and above. It's generally cold hardy, about the same cold hardiness as crinums, which are in the same Amaryllis family. And so the tropical giant spider lily is a Caribbean species, hence the species Hymenocallis caribea, tropical giant. It's sterile, doesn't set any seed, otherwise it would have these big round fleshy seed pods on there, kind of like a crinum lily in our wild Hymenocallis. Outstanding perennial, comes back year after year. Clump gets bigger and bigger, and you don't have to dig it. Matter of fact, you don't want to have to dig it because it's really hard to dig. It's like digging a crinum lily. It would take multiple people, multiple shovels, sometimes half a day to dig a clump of it. Never stops blooming, just gets bigger clump each year. Doesn't spread, doesn't run. Literally, the bulbs are all attached together. Good, mannerly, even though big, sterile clump forming perennial for full shade or full sun. So that's pretty amazing. It'll do in full sun or full shade. Flowers probably last a little longer with some shade, otherwise just as adapted out in the sun. Beautiful flowers, also moth pollinated with the white flowers that are fragrant at night. So really cool garden perennial for the South. Hymenocallis caribea tropical giant, the giant white spider lily. You'll see a little bit of coloration on the foliage here, and we get this question a lot on Amaryllis, on crinum lilies, and on Hymenocallis, particularly if you've had a wet spring or a wet winter where you have wet soil. This is a fungal disease, not going to hurt the plant at all. Nobody sprays for it. It's called red steel or stagnospora, just a common disease associated with Amaryllis family foliage when you have wet winters or wet springs. And so you just ignore that. As the temperature gets hot and it dries out, that goes away. Mostly is associated with that new foliage coming up through the old foliage and the organic matter in those spores in the ground there. So not to be confused with a virus or anything else. So that's stagnospora or red steel. Ignore that. The hotter and sunnier it gets, the more exposure to the sun, the less overhead irrigation you give it, less likely you are to see that fungal disease. And if I hadn't pointed out, you probably wouldn't noticed it at all. So big shiny green foliage, beautiful white flowers, easy to grow, can't kill, a lot like crinum lilies, where my late mentor, Dr. Welch, said no crinum has ever died. You can almost say no Hymenocallis has ever died, unless you take it further than zone 8A, and then you start running into cold hardiness issues. But to be frank, in the South, we're just worried about heat tolerance and drought tolerance and flood tolerance, not so much about cold hardness. So tropical giant Hymenocallis.